React because the game did happen today. We can just and those that want those game reactions, that are nostalgic for those game reactions that we always used to give. Leverkusen Milan. To me, Richard, the match went just about as I expected it to. Now, 2 weeks ago, Milan got beaten by Liverpool in a 3-1 defeat that may not have even been that close. And at the time when that happened, the following day, I'm watching Leverkusen just rip apart Feyenoord, and I'm saying, man, Milan's not ready for this. And then they play a few games. They kind of give my take on this game, Richard. I think the game went about what I thought, about the way I thought it was going to go. I think Milan were going to be treading water for large parts of this game. But they were going to find pockets where they were going to be able to get some chances. Ultimately it came down to a rebound goal for Boniface that separated the teams. But Leverkusen certainly had a lot of quality chances that it had not been for an outstanding Mike Maignan. This game's a blowout. But then you look at the second half and you look at the number of chances that Milan carved out to get back in this game. You can really make the argument that, that first half, okay, fine. But Milan played well enough to get something out of this game. How did you see it?
Yeah, it's an interesting game. I was disappointed with seeing Milan, considering, obviously getting the result in the derby. Sorry, Eduardo. And then obviously getting the big win the following week, winning big in that next game. So I thought, they had the momentum. Yes, Leverkusen are an outstanding team, well coached. But I thought Milan would put a better fight, at least in the beginning. It was all Leverkusen in the beginning. Maignan came up huge. It seemed like Leverkusen were content with doing that cross-pitch pass to Frimpong go and cross it into Boniface in the middle. They scored a couple goals, I think, and they all got taken away from offsides. But nonetheless, I thought, the way Milan got shellacked in the first half, I was like, oh my goodness, they're gonna be barely getting by this. This might turn ugly. But as to your point, Milan did turn around in the second half. Whether it was Leverkusen saying, hey, we're going to take the foot off the gas here a little bit, play smarter, or what, or just Milan, turning it up. They did look a lot better. They did have more chances. They forced Radetzky to get about 5 saves. I think it was all in the second half. So, they put up a little fight. They could have earned a point in this one, but I was disappointed. I wanted to see more from them in the first half, and really, maybe had they started out better, they wouldn't have gone down to the goal by Boniface. It was really 6s and 7s on that goal that they scored. So,
Should they have gotten a penalty in the first half, the Tapsoba challenge on Abraham?
Yeah, I heard a lot of people clamoring for it. You watched the game, you tell me. I mean, a lot of people clamoring for that. And I think Teo Hernandez also got bowled over in the game as well that people are clamoring about. What do you think?
Tapsoba just pretty much pretty much stiff-armed him as Teo was trying to make a run forward, and Teo ended up on the ground and not even a look. Tapsoba got a talking to there, and then he get, so
taken out too as well. He should probably, maybe that could have been a foul too, So
sure. So, not even a talking to and it was right in front of the referee. So it was surprising to me how he wasn't even at least, a foul wasn't given, and he wasn't at least booked. Yeah. So some very strange decisions, but. That's not ultimately what cost Milan the match. I mean, they went on the road. I think they played a very good performance. You can be disappointed in the result. Don't be disappointed in this performance. That's a very good Leverkusen team. And to your point, well coached. And I thought there were some very good individual performances in this game that Milan fans could be encouraged by. Mike Maignan, chief among them, with 8 saves in this game. He basically helped Milan stay in it. But, for how under siege Milan was, I thought Matteo Gabbia was excellent. I thought Yusuf Fofana was excellent. I think they've got a player here in their midfield. I'm not ready to call him. I'm not ready to put him at, on the Frank Kessie pedestal yet. It's only been a few games, but I like how he's playing. I like how he covers for the back four.
He should have scored when Morata got that header there. He should have put it away. He'd kind of let it go and went wide.
I think he assumed that was going in.
Yeah. Never assume.
Yeah, never assume, because you know what happens when you assume. So spell it out. So anyway, I am getting concerned about Rafael Leao. I mean, he'll have his moments, granted, but this is a game where you wanted to see, and I think that he had a couple decent moments. But I think if you're going to be, at the level that's expected of you, there needs to be some consistency. I think Milan fans can be encouraged that they have depth at striker with Abraham and with Morata. I thought they were both good. I think that Morata had probably had a little more of an impact on the game when he came on, and a lot of that had to do with just being fresh legs going at a defense that Milan were able to run at a little bit.
You think, to Giuseppe's point here, do you think Fonseca is more concentrated on the Scudetto versus the Champions League at the moment, with Abraham starting in this one versus Morata, who started during the weekend?
No, because there was talk about Morata having a little bit of a knock after, and that he had to come out for in the Lecce game. No. And I think that, because they have been starting, they have been starting Morata and Abraham together with a two front, in Serie A. They did it in the derby against Inter. They did it against Lecce. I think that when you go away in Europe, you can't play that system. Your two-man center midfield is going to get overrun. So you play Reinders, who can find those half spaces beyond Leverkusen's press, get the ball turned, find the other players, and which he did a reasonable job of. And then you've got Loftus-Cheek and Fofana, who primarily are tasked with protecting the back four, which I thought they did a solid job of in the first half, just kind of keeping their positions and not getting undisciplined. So, so I thought that tactically that was the right way to go, to just go with the one striker, and then couple that with the fact that, Morata did take a knock. Don't force him into a starting lineup in this game, and bring him on as a substitute if he can give you that much. So, so I don't think that I think they would like to do it's Milan. I mean, if you come to Milan and as a manager, you need to be, the expectation is that you do well in the Champions League. It's the history. So
they brought out Ancelotti's Christmas tree formation for this game, but still.
Yep. So, and this is a nice segue, as we can probably take a look. We can take a look at the teams that are going to be playing this week, and kind of our reaction to everything. But I'll put a finishing touch on Milan because it's already been talked about in the chat by Eduardo. I don't think that Milan have anything to worry about here. I don't think Milan fans have anything to worry about here. First of all, remember the league phase is now 8 matches; it's not 6. So they just played.
We talked about the rough start and how it would get easier as a thing.
Yeah. They played 2 very difficult opponents. They get to host Girona, who might be, as home matches go, that might be their toughest home match remaining. The only remaining difficult one after this is when they travel to Real Madrid on match day 4. They host Club Brugge, who are, I think Borussia Dortmund showed you that Club Brugge is not the Club Brugge of the last, of a few years ago, when they surprised everybody and got into the last 16. And I think there's a couple of Slovan Bratislavas on that list. A couple of the other, kind of more underdog type teams, that you would think on paper Milan could go ahead and deal with. And, and people are saying, 15 points. Somebody was running a sim on this, and I can't remember where I found it, but 15 points would get you 8th. So could potentially get you 8th and get you automatically into the last 16. So if Milan could win those 5 matches and, fine, they lose at Real Madrid, they lose at the Bernabeu, then that's 15 points, and they're probably right in one of those positions. So, so I don't think, if you're a Milan fan, there's nothing to worry about. Now, if you get to match day 3, you play Club Brugge and you walk out of there with a draw, then I think it's time to start worrying and panicking. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, these first 2 games are super tough, and they got to get a result against Bruges. Real Madrid, if they get a result, that's a cherry on top. But I'm not expecting it. And after that, you need to take care of business. And so I'm not worried at the moment. Would I like to see better performances? Absolutely. But hey, they're doing since that derby game, and that's what the 3rd or 4th time we brought it up now. Sorry, Eduardo. Milan have gone a little bit found themselves, it seems like, in the league. So as long as they keep doing that in the league, I'll be okay with that.
Yep, absolutely. So, I think that this is a different Milan than the one we were talking about the last time we were on the air. So, I think the ship's been righted, and we'll kind of get into a little more detail on that here.
Speaking of ship being righted, Inter kind of righted their ship today against Red Star.
Yep. Yeah, they did. And let's segue in.